Hey there, game makers, and today I wanted to get some input from you, because I guess this would be geared towards beginners, but of course also for seasoned programmers, and therefore please give me your input if this would make sense for you, and put that stuff on Kickstarter. So what am I talking about? My idea was to create a comic in specific series which cover basic topics to more advanced ones, and that I would put on Kickstarter. Depending how far we go and how far the interest is, then I can have different localizations and different kind of standards and different or more advanced topics also. So we would just begin with the basic stuff, but of course the more interest does exist for that, well, then the more I would invest and make more kind of serious parts which are just covering different kind of topics. So what kind of topics could that be? Because for now I would say there are more or less two groups: beginners, which want to make video games but are not sure and maybe don't want to use GameMaker, or maybe don't know what GameMaker actually is, and therefore they just want to dabble with that, but they want to do something with the video game industry, and therefore I would cover that in general terms. So this is not a programming booklet or book, this is a comic. So for example, what I did here for my own course, basically what you're seeing in front of you is just a very light way to show how programming works, how the GameMaker language works, and so on. But here we will do none of that, because I want to more focus on the aspects of becoming an indie developer, or maybe just you want to go into the industry and you're not sure what you need to have and what you need to do to get there. So therefore this is then the beginner part in this series, and then we'll just go into what kind of opportunities or are there in the industry where you could go, what kind of roles do exist. And I go with my famous or infamous, or maybe less infamous, 3 roles of game designer, programmer, and then the art person or the designer. But of course there are different kind of more subtle roles, but of course I would just dissect that also, so you can just jump into the things which you see as valuable for you. So once again, series of comics which are describing some, let's say, more or less not so easy to find topics, and therefore I thought, like, hey, let's present it in a nice, subtle, nice, presentable way through a comic which like this, which you're seeing in front of you. So that would be my idea. And then later on I would go into more advanced topics, but of course that is depending how far the stretch goals are going. So once again, please give me some input on that also, how many stretch goals I would be having, how much that would be worth for you, and then if it would make sense to do it as a Kickstarter, because that would be my first Kickstarter and I'm not sure here. So if somebody's experienced and I think like, hey, that would be a pretty sweet idea, then just pitch me some ideas, please, because why not? That's benefiting in the end the whole community. And then of course, depending how far we go for multi-languages, more serious, more advanced stuff. And then the advanced stuff would be more on marketing. It would be more on, for example, releasing your game, I don't know, specifically on, let's say, the platform of Steam, what you need to do there, what you need to make in advance, how many steps are in there, how you can release your game. So very valuable information which you don't find so easily on the web, and therefore the comic would cover it in a very, very, very light way how to do it. So once again, that would be then for more advanced users, but as you can see, then we got a big range of comics which would be part of the Kickstarter, and then you will, depending how much of the interest in there is, then you would get all of that stuff after it's done and ready and being shipped out. But of course, my idea is not to substitute, I don't know, with this stuff, the manual, which already does exist for GameMaker, or for example, do one of those, let's say something like this, GameMaker language, which is pretty good, but as you can see, this is more a booklet. This is more a real book which is doing some code stuff, and it's drier. And for me, I want to make this a little bit more fluff, a little bit more easy to understand and comprehend. And my idea is not to make a competition to this guy here, because he already did this, and that would be redundant in my opinion. Of course, it would be more up to date because, well, a few things have changed, but still I want to cover a few things which are important. And then later on, if we go to a very, very, very late stretch goal, so if you accumulated enough, I could actually go through and make another Kickstarter. Or on this one, I'm not sure about that. Please write in the comments once again below if you want to see Game Maker language being done in the comic format. So once again, this thing here, not a dry thing, but rather a fluff way which you can just go through, like, oh, that's interesting, that's interesting, how does that work, and then you just go through it, and then boom, easy peasy stuff. So once again, I would ask you, please, in the comment section, give me your ideas, what you think about that, what kind of stretch goals should be in there, what kind of features should be in there. So what I did offer, and then I guess I'm going to repeat myself, a little bit more basic stuff, entering the gaming industry, then what kind of role would be suited for you, then maybe what kind of engine to use, because there are different ones. Maybe you prefer Unity because this is an easy way to start, or maybe Game Maker because this is one of the easiest, or you just go instantly into Unreal because you want to play with the pros, and then you do play with the pros, which is kind of difficult, but hey, challenge accepted. And then therefore you can just go where you like, and then later on we would just then focus on some game design aspects, what is making a game good, some theories to bounce off which are not obvious for a lot of developers, and therefore, hey, I would just go through all of them here, or the most crucial ones which I think are very effective and good for you to do. And then later on, for the more advanced users, making your game, releasing it, what to look out for, what kind of requisites you need, what kind of things are important to do, and then of course some other stuff which is maybe, and this is then the last stretch goal, would be to actually to make the Game Maker manual, but in this kind of format. Of course, that would be a humongous, I'm just repeating, that would be a humongous big comic series. But of course, if the stretch goal is big enough, I can do it, because why not? And then a lot of things would be a little bit more easier to get to and less dry for the regular user. But of course, the menu is pretty functional, so no complaints from my side. Alrighty, that was it from my side. So once again, please comment below, give me your input if this would be interesting for you and what you think about that, because I'm just pitching it to you in a real manner, because I think hey, that could be interesting for the whole community and for people who are advanced or beginners, doesn't really matter. It would suit both groups. Alrighty, that was it from my side. Have a good one. One up indie.